a little
Did
bit.
it only get good when I started being like right on it like this? Oh gosh.
What?
Dude, what'd you do?
Could have been worse.
Hey everybody, welcome again to another installment of NVLIFE at Home. I'm Adrian, I'm here with Heather, and we're parents, members of the church, and we're here to talk, kind of have a conversation about fear and the idea of how fear is at a whole new level right now.
It is, and I think, especially with the kids not going back to school right now, we're pending. Like, when are we going to go back to school? When are we going to see our friends again? When are we going to see our teachers again? And even as a teacher, you're sitting there going, when are we going to be able to go back into our classrooms just to get some things, you know? So I think there's that worry and that anxiety, you know, that pops up here and there.
It is interesting because we were talking about it earlier. We've been living in the Napa area for almost 5 years now. Fortunately, we came a year after the earthquakes, but we still hit the couple of years of fire and things like that. And as we sit back and think about it, you see bits and pieces of fear in different ways and form come out, right? Like the first sets of fires where you could look out at night and see the fires across Atlas Peak and you're like, oh my gosh, this is really close.
Right.
The fear level there, people are running to the store for supplies, they're gearing up what they need, thick smoke, all of that. You know, year after that, fires again, and then now we're heading into something completely new.
Right.
And the level of fear, and we were joking about it, but, you know, going to the grocery store for basic items, going for, you know, what is it that we need? I may or may not get it.
Right.
And I guess the biggest question that kind of we can unpack and it'll help some of the people at home is what are some of the best ways that we can help minimize that fear in our own households?
Right.
You had made a great point about how it impacts our kids and how we respond with our kids, and then more so, hopefully that trickles into the community as well. If you get enough of us saying and looking at this like, you know what? And again, God is in control.
Exactly.
Ultimately, when we take our eyes off of Him, fear becomes real. Fear
Right.
becomes tangible, and then we start to do that. So let's, you know, what are some ways? How can we as parents really do this better?
I know for me at home, it's really, and even before all this happened, even as a teacher in that front, in the classroom, the kids brought up like their fears and their worries and their anxieties with all this happening. And it was my responsibility, I feel like, as an adult, to remain calm and to remain, sure, I may have these worries in my own head, but not to project them out so that it kind of takes it away from our kids. You know, they're young, they're innocent, they're going to go through this totally different. We don't need to project our adult worries and our adult concerns and our adult feelings onto our children. We need to let them be children, you know? And that looks like just going through life normal. For us, it was my husband, when I started seeing all this going online, I was like, oh my gosh, we need to go to the grocery store. We need to get stuff. Right. And he's like, no, slow your roll. Calm down, because things are going to be there. We might have to get something different, or we might have to go to 5 different stores, but just do what we normally do. So it's the meal plans on a Friday, and it's going to the grocery store on a Saturday or Sunday, and it's just maybe having to go to different places. Yeah. But we're not going to hoard, and we're not going to bring, you know, because all that does is cause worry and concern and, oh my gosh, I ran out of the sugar. Now I need to go get more sugar. And this time I'm going to buy 2 things of sugar. You know, that's just crazy.
But it's funny though. You're right though, because as you're pushing your cart through the store and I did it. So I went for my 6 items and I'm like, Christy said, we just need these 6 things. I'll get through the next 8 days. But last week, as I'm pushing my cart through the store and I see these people with tons of supplies, the fear sets in on me. What if, you know, oh my gosh, look at my cart. I have 10 things in my cart. I'm trying to just do what I need to do to get through the next 8 days, but the fear starts to build. And I think I was talking to a gentleman out in the lobby a few minutes ago, and he said it extremely well. He said, fear is tangible. Mm-hmm. Fear is real. It's something that you can see. It's something that you can feel. It's all around you. Flash forward to today. So again, I'm going for 6 items, and Christy's like, just get these 6. We're good to go. And I walk into the store, and one of the first things I see, and it's it's funny, we laugh about it, but it's kind of reassuring. I see a cart walking out from Walmart into the parking lot, and there's toilet paper in the cart. Not an obscene amount of toilet paper, but a pack of toilet paper. And the first thing that runs through my head is, wow, okay, maybe they have toilet paper now. But again, walking in the store thinking, the shelf's going to be empty, all those fears, right? From the minute I leave my house till I get to the parking lot. And then in the parking lot, what am I going to find inside? Are they going to have empty shelves? All of these things that you're going through. But you're right, we take that home. Or even before we leave the house. okay?
Right.
Because our kids are home right now. They're not at school. Normally these conversations my wife and I will have on a Thursday night for the weekend, for the next weeks, with the kids not around. We don't
Right.
include them that often, except for what do you want to eat. But now they're there. We're having these conversations with them, and they can feel us ramping
Right.
up. They can feel that fear build within us.
Right. And I think that's one thing that we've been trying to do at home is kind of not shelter Bella, but kind of just have those more grown-up conversations outside. Like, if I'm worried and stressed about something and I'm telling it to my husband, it's, all right, Zach, but it's at home and in our bedroom and away from her little ears, so
Right.
she doesn't see, because now I'm home with her all day.
Right.
You know, as most families are, we're together. And so having those conversations, we need to make sure we're filtering them as well, so that our kids aren't hearing the conversations that we're having that are more, you know,
But
adultish.
yeah, and I think you're right. Filtering is key. But I think the other aspect too is being willing to have some of these conversations with them and around them at a level that they can have. Bella's middle school, correct?
She's fourth grade.
Fourth grade, okay.
Right.
So I have a fifth grader and an eighth grader in the house. And at some point, we as parents, we have conversations away from our kids intentionally. We don't want them, they're adult conversations or whatever it is. But I think right now, some of those conversations you invite into that family
Right.
structure. Now I'm answering the questions from my kids where I come home and my daughter says, Dad, are you okay? And I've just come back from grocery shopping and went to 5 different stores, couldn't find
Right.
what I'm fine. And I'm battling fear inside me. And my natural response to protect my child is to say, no, I'm fine, everything's fine.
Right.
They're not dumb.
Right.
They can read it all over our face, our body
Exactly.
language. So it's in those moments saying, no, rough outing for Dad.
Right.
Let's talk about it for a minute. Couldn't find what I needed to, so we have to adjust.
Right.
How does that
But
make
it's
you
also
feel?
letting them tell you how they feel.
Absolutely.
And then I think as parents, sometimes we get in, and right now, which we can also look at this time as a time of gratitude of, we have moments where we can slow down and we can actually hear our kids. Because I think sometimes our kids will come to us with problems, or our kids will come to us with how they're feeling, and we're so distracted by everything that we're doing, our work and busy and everything else we're trying to take care of, that we don't listen.
Yeah.
And I think right now is a great opportunity for us as parents as well, just to sit down and listen, because life has slowed down just a little in our, in our day to day. And so that, I think this is a great time for us to be sitting down as parents, being able to have conversations with our kids, bringing it back to God and making sure that they know, listen, we don't need to fear. What purpose is there in worrying about anything? Do we gain anything by doing so?
Yeah, and that's exactly the point. We don't gain anything, and that's why I love. Tony mentioned the walking on the water last week in the
Right.
sermon, and then reading it in Matthew and the aspect of Peter when he actually steps out into the boat in faith and takes his eyes off of Christ, and that's where the fear sets in. He recognizes everything around him, and in that moment loses, his aspect of faith and keeping it in terms that our children can understand, but valuing that time. I love how you said it's a forced situation where we're spending more time with our kids. We can't just dismiss,
Right.
conversations. We have to engage with them at a level that
Right.
is okay for them, with information that is okay for them. But again, just making sure that we're coming together and partnering, and I think you've said it too with you and your husband and my wife and I, is making sure that we're still able to communicate as well. We're still having the conversations we need to have as adults, as mom and dad, to make sure we're on the same page, and then having conversations with our kids as
Right.
well.
And I think too, what could be a great opportunity as well is every time we get those fears or those worries or those anxieties, back it up of looking at the good that's going on within our world and within our country, of people sewing masks and people supporting local businesses, and there's so much more good to be grateful and thankful for, I feel like right now, than there is that worry and panic, so.
Well, this too shall pass, right? Like
Yep.
all things, and ultimately God is in control.
Exactly.
And I think it's been mentioned before, and Tony has said it, and we'll see it either in a video you've seen or one coming up. God will do incredible things with this.
Yes.
If anything, the work he's doing right now in us, in our homes, in our families,
Right.
drawing us together
Exactly.
at a time where we'd been so scattered and far apart with our schedules and all that. So, yeah, great. Thanks for the conversation.
Oh, thank
Excellent
you.
conversation. All right, you guys, remember, God is in control. Surrender all your fear to him. We'll see you next time.